Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah.
Yes.
Continuing in volume 2 of Riyad as-Saliheen, book number 12, the Book of Knowledge. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As radiyallahu anhuma that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, convey on my behalf even if it is only a verse of the Quran. Relate tradition from Banu Israel, and there is no restriction on that. But he who deliberately attributes to me something false, let him have his abode in the hell. Al-Bukhari. This hadith contains the following 3 points. It stresses the importance of acquiring knowledge of the Quran and the hadith and imparting it to others. No matter whether one has more or less knowledge, he must communicate it to others. There is no justification to presume that preaching or inviting to the message of Allah is the duty of religious scholars and those who are well versed in this sphere. In fact, it is a duty upon every Muslim, so much so that if a person knows even a single verse of the Quran, that is to say, if he knows only one injunction of Allah, he is duty bound to communicate it to other people. 2. It allows the communication of Jewish tradition, but this permission is subject to the condition that such traditions are not against the elucidation of the Quran and Hadith. In case there is a contradiction between the Jewish tradition and the elucidation made from them by the Quran and Hadith, the former can only be mentioned without their confirmation or falsification. 3. There is a stern warning on attributing any false saying to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This demands strict scrutiny of a hadith. If a hadith does not have a reliable authority, or whose chain of narrator has a false link, or a person of doubtful integrity, that is to say, if it is weak, then it is a serious offense to quote it as a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There are various grades of weakness, and this requires deep knowledge of the narrators and principles of hadith to know them, since scholars who are expert in this discipline are few and far. The safest course for ordinary scholars is to refrain from stating such a hadith which are weak, no matter whether the weakness is serious or slight. The reason is that although the majority of muhaddithun consider the slightly weak hadith acceptable, but they cannot be identified by everybody. Thus, every hadith which is marked as weak should not be mentioned. In the present age, Sheikh Nasruddin al-Albani, may Allah be merciful to him, has done a very remarkable work in this field. He has separated the weak ahadith found in the 4 famous volume ahadith Sunan, Abi Dawud, At-Tirmidhi, An-Nisa, and Ibn Majah from the authentic, and prepared separate volumes of authentic and weak ahadith. This work of Sheikh al-Albani has made it easy for the ordinary ulama to identify the weak ahadith, although there can be a possibility that Sheikh al-Albani may have classified a weak hadith as authentic and vice versa, but only a man of Sheikh caliber can do research on it. The ordinary ulama and religious scholars of the Muslim are heavily indebted to him for this great work, and they should keep in view before mentioning any hadith. They should mention only the authentic hadith and refrain from quoting the weak one. It is wrong to ignore this work on the ground that Sheikh al-Albani is not the last word on the subject. There can be a possibility of error in his work because it is, after all, a human effort. But it will be very unfair to regard his effort of no account merely because of a possible error. It is regrettable indeed that only because of this possible error, many people refuse to accept even the correctness of Sahihain, i.e. Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. Should we then accept their view? No, certainly not. So there is no sense in not making use of Sheikh Albani's matchless contribution, as muhaddithun have done a great service to the Muslim Ummah by collecting and compiling the hadith. Similarly, in the style of muhaddithun and in keeping with the principles laid down by them. The research carried out to separate the authentic hadith from the weak is in fact an effort to complete their mission. In this age, Almighty Allah has bestowed this honor on Sheikh Al-Albani. May Allah protect him, give him the best of the reward, and give him mercy on his soul. Ameen. We now revert to the subject under discussion and say that no such saying and practice should be attributed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the authenticity of which is doubtful. On this principle, weak hadith should not be mentioned. It is very unfortunate indeed that in spite of such a stern warning, many of our ulama are not careful in this matter. Not to speak of weak hadith, they do not hesitate to mention even a hadith mawdu'a, forged hadith, only to adorn their speech. May Allah guide them to the right path. In fact, there is a class of religious scholars who try to refute the authentic ahadith and validate the weak ones only to add credence to their own juristic school. May Allah save us from such evil. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.